Good afternoon, students. Today, we are going to discuss one more type of algorithm which comes under association analysis, that is FP growth algorithm. And we discuss with an example, which is a part of module 3. So we have come across this basic definitions. What is K item set? It is nothing but the item set which is having K number of items. Support count, it is nothing but number of occurrences or frequency of a particular item in a transaction database. The support is nothing but, so it is nothing but the support count of A and B whole divided by total number of transactions. So support means, so total how many percentage of transaction in the database follow the rules. That means if this is the rule, A tends to B, where A is the antecedent and B is the consequent. So if a customer purchase A, the customer also, there is a chance that customer also purchase B. So this is the rule, A tends to B. So what the support tells that the support count of the item set A, B, okay, whole divided by total number of transactions. That actually the support. Then the confidence. Confidence is nothing but what is the chance of purchasing a particular item. That means here the out of 100%, how many percentage of customer will purchase the item? Okay, that particular item. Say for example, if 60% of the customers purchases a milk and bread, okay, then also purchase the another item butter. Okay, the confidence of 60% means that 60% of the customer who purchase the milk and bread also purchase the butter. So the formula is here. So confidence of A tends to B. This is the rule. A, B are the items. So support count of A and B, that is A union B, all divided by support of A. That means the customer who purchase, okay, the milk and bread also purchase the butter. There is a 60% chance out of 100. There is a 60% percentage of the customer buys these items. And we came across in the last class two more definition, that is maximal item set and the closed item set. What is this maximal item set? With example we discussed, maximal item set is nothing but if we have this, if you consider a red line, dashed line, red dashed line, it is nothing but it is dividing the item lattice set into two parts. That is, upper part is nothing but the frequent item set and lower part is nothing but the infrequent item set. So maximal item set is, an item set is maximal frequent if none of its superset are frequent. If none of its superset are frequent, that means what? We call a item set is maximal, okay, if all its superset or if all its immediate superset are infrequent. Let us say, take an example, AD. AD we called as a maximal item set. Why? Because the immediate superset of AD is ABD and ACD. Both are coming as infrequent. Okay, that is below the dashed red line. So that means what? AD is a maximal item set. To get the closed item set, what is the definition for closed item set? What we discussed in the last class, that closed item set says that the item set is closed when its immediate superset does not have the support count same as that item set. Okay, that means A, suppose if I take A, okay, A what are the superset of A, B, AC, AD, AE? Okay, so we have to make sure that none of this AB, AC, AD, AE is not having the support count same as A. If any of this superset have any of these four superset have the support count same as A, then it is not a closed item set. Hope it is clear for you. Okay. Now let's move on to the FP growth algorithm. Before that, so I just want to recall the few things, that is mining association rules. Okay, it consists of two steps or two-step approach. That is, first step is frequent item set generation. Okay, frequent item set generation. So that means what? Here we will be generating the frequent item set. Okay, that how we can how we generate or how we find the item set is a frequent item set by using the condition, that is support is greater than or equal to minimum support threshold. The support of an item set is greater than or equal to minimum support threshold. So here usually this step will be more expensive. Okay, as we saw in the two algorithms, naive algorithm and in the a priori algorithm. Naive algorithm, the entire item set lattice used to be scanned every time, but it has the computational expensive have reduced by using the a priori algorithm. How? By using the a priori principle, saying that if the item set is frequent, then all its subset is also frequent. If the item set is infrequent, then all its superset is also infrequent. So you can just eliminate the infrequent item set from the candidate item set. So the number of candidates will be reduced from the level wise. Okay, that was done. So expensive, so it was a little bit expensive was reduced in the a priori algorithm. So next step is that the rule generation. We saw how to generate the rules. Once we find the frequent item set, so then we can just generate the strong rules, okay, by using a criteria or a metric called confidence. If the confidence uh, of that particular item set is greater than the confidence minimum confidence threshold, then it will be that rule will be considered as a strong rule. So we'll see in the FP growth algorithm how it is. Yeah, in this I would like to tell that there are several ways to reduce the computational complexity of frequent item set generation. So here we have a priori algorithm which is used to reduce the number of candidate item set that we mentioned using a we represent using a letter M. So how this a priori algorithm helped us in reducing the number of candidate item set? We have come across the examples in the previous classes, right? So a priori algorithm uses a priori principle, right? What does that principle says? That if the item set is frequent, then all its subset is frequent. If the item set is not frequent, then all its superset sets are not frequent. So we can just prune out all the infrequent item set which is not satisfying the condition, that is support of item set is greater than or equal to minimum support threshold. So like this we proved. So a priori algorithm is actually better than the or good compared to a naive algorithm which was using brute force approach. Whereas in a priori algorithm we use generate and test approach. Okay, generate and test approach. So here to reduce the number of candidate items at a priori algorithm is suitable. But to reduce the number of comparisons, comparison means every time we used to compare the candidates with the support count. Okay, we used to, if you remember a priori algorithm, we used to scan the database to find out the support of candidate item set. C1, C2, C3, C4, and so on. Every time we used to scan the database. So that comparison can be reduced using a second approach called second algorithm or another algorithm called FP growth. how it can be done by using a data structure called tree. Okay, tree which compress the data set. We'll see with an example. So as we discussed, to find the frequent pattern, okay, or frequent item set, we came across the algorithm called a priori algorithm, which usually which uses a approach called generate and test, okay, which generates the candidate item set and test if they are frequent or not. So compared to the naive algorithm, a priori algorithm is less expensive in terms of both space and time. But only thing is that it is iterative in nature, and level wise we will be generating the candidate item set. Okay, as we were discussing, like we will be generating the item set C1 candidate of one item set, C2 of candidate two item set, C3 of candidate three item set. Like that, level wise, we will be going and finding the candidate. This is little bit expensive. Okay, this actually results in less bit expensive. Okay, so that is we have the multi database scan. So all this is overcome in another type of algorithm, that is FP growth algorithm, which allow frequent item set discovery without candidate generation. Okay, here we don't have the concept of generating C1, C2, C3, C4, so on. Here we will be just create a data by we will scan the database and generate the frequent item set by using a data structure called tree. So there is no concept of candidate generation. There is no concept of candidate generation in the FP growth algorithm. So how this FP growth algorithm will work? So basically we have to remember it is a two-step approach. Okay, first step is we will be building a tree structure called FP tree. Okay, so in FP tree also we have two passes. Okay, pass one, pass two. That I'll tell in the next slide. So next, the second step is to extract the frequent item set directly from the FP tree. That is, by traversing through the FP tree, we will be finding the frequent item set. So here you remember in FP growth algorithm, we have two steps. One is to build the FP growth tree, okay, frequent pattern tree. FP stands for frequent pattern. So first step is to construct the FP tree. Second step is to extract the frequent item set directly from the FP. So these are the two things we were going to discuss here. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. So here to understand about in detail about the FP algorithm. Okay, now we'll start with the first step. What was the first step I told to build the FP tree? Okay, so before building the FP tree, first we will discuss what this FP tree is. Frequent pattern tree is. Okay, so here in the FP tree, every node, okay, corresponds to an item. Okay, and have a counter. Counter means since it is corresponding to a item, how many times that item is occurring is taken in the form of a counter. Is taken into account in the form of a counter. So FP growth reads one transaction at a time. So suppose we have 10 transaction, means first it will read the first transaction, second transaction, okay, and maps it to the path. The fixed order is used, so paths can overlap when transactions share items. So say for example, in that first transaction, there is an item AB. In the second transaction, ABC. So AB is the path, already AB path is created. So again, there is no need to create a path in the tree or a branch in the tree AB again. AB is there already, then we just move on to the ABC. Okay, I just show you how. So suppose I have started with the root node. Okay, the FP tree will be having always the root node, which will be represented in the form of a null. Okay, it will be represented in the form of a null. So suppose there is a node which correspond to an item. There is an item called A. Okay. There is another item called B. That means what? A, B is purchased in the, okay, A and B are purchased in first transaction. In the transaction one, okay, in the transaction one, the AB items are purchased. So we have created a branch called AB and we are given the counter as 1 here. Okay, here 1, here also B also 1 time. In the transaction 2, suppose there is an item called ABC. Okay, there is an item called A, B, C. A, B, C. Items are purchased by the customer. A, B, C item are there in that items are there in that transaction. So here, when we want to construct the database, we no need to create a separate branch for A, B, C here. No need to create a separate branch for A, B, C here. So what we can do, we can just already, there is a branch having A, B. Then we have to include the C here. So that time, what we have to do, we have to increment the counter. Okay, so this is C. This item is, or node is corresponding to C. So what we have to do here, we have to just increment the counter, because A, in the transaction we had the item A and B. Okay, A, B was purchased. So A, B. So here this is actually node. Okay, node. So A, B. In the second transaction, already that A, B is there. We have to include only C. So the counter will be incremented. Okay, the counter will be incremented. So here the counter is 1 only. Okay, so that's what fixed order is used. So paths can overlap when transactions share items when they have the same prefix. Okay, when they have the same prefix. In this case, counter are incremented. As I told, the counters will be incremented. So here pointers are maintained between the nodes containing the same item, creating singly linked list. That is dotted line. Suppose I have one more in the transaction 3. There is a transaction 3. Okay, there is a transaction 3 which is having item BD. Okay, which is having item BD. So here if you say this is a different pattern, it is there. Here AB, ABC. So AB I started and ABC I did here. But we have to start the transaction from the root itself. Okay, root itself. But here this branch is starting from A, not from B. I cannot directly tell I cannot take like A, B, C, D. It will be different pattern. But here the pattern is given is BD. So I can start with a new branch, that is BD, because there is this branch is starting from A. So all the pattern which is starting from A, I can put it here. Okay. So but here it is starting from B. So B, we have to create a separate branch B. The counter will be how much? 1 here, one B is there, and another node is D. Okay, another node is D. So D is also I am putting as 1 counter. Okay, 1 counter here, 1 counter. So here what happened? Here also B is there, here also B is there. So I just put the link. That means I can say totally B here it is 2 times 2 occurrence, here 1 occurrence. 2 plus 1, 3. So if you see the transaction, here B 1 time is there, 1 time, B is 1 time, 2 time and 3 time. So 3 numbers are there. So that's what it is sending. Okay. So singly linked list. It is joined using the singly linked list. This is concept. Here also B is there, here also B is there, but different pattern it is. Okay, here different pattern, but B are same item. So they are joined to get the count properly. Okay, the more paths that overlap, the higher the comparison. More paths. See here, AB, ABC. So like this, most of the paths are overlapping means the tree, compressed tree we will get. So FP tree will be fitting into the memory. So memory, it consumes less memory. Okay, so when the tree is constructed, when the tree is built completely, we can draw the frequent item set from this tree. Okay, so we'll see how to generate the tree in the coming slide. Okay. So here, what is the in the step 1? As I told, there will be two passes: pass 1, pass 2. Pass 1 is nothing but it is just scanning the database and counting the support of each support count of, okay, taking out the or considering the support count of each item set from the transaction database and removing the infrequent item set. When I say infrequent item set, every time in any algorithm we have to follow the condition, that is the support count greater than or equal to minimum support count or frequent item set, the support count less than or equal to minimum support threshold or infrequent. So what is we do in the pass 1? Pass 1 is similar to our a priori algorithm. So we will scan the transaction database D given, okay, then we will find out how many different items are there, and we will be finding out corresponding support count of each and every item set. Okay, then we will be removing or we will be eliminating the item set which is having support count less than minimum support count threshold. Okay, so that's what it is saying here in pass 1. Scan data and find support for each item, discard infrequent items. Okay, that we do same as in a priori. The next what we have to do in FP growth is that this is very important to remember. Okay, very important. We have to remember in the past one, after doing this two, okay, after doing these two things, next what we have to do, we will take only frequent items. Okay, we'll take only frequent items and we will sort. Okay, we'll sort in a decreasing order. Okay, based on the support. Okay, we'll sort in a decreasing order based on the support. Say for example 8, 6, 3, 2, okay, like this. We will be sorting based on the we will be sorting in a decreasing order, that is big to small, in a decreasing order based on the support count. Okay, say for example here the items A, B, C, D, E, the items are arranged in decreasing order based on the support count. Okay, using this order, use this order when building the FP tree. Okay, so that the common prefix can be shared. Why we have to do in the decreasing order? The reason is here. Okay, that means we will be sharing the common prefixes. Okay, hope it is clear for you. Next we move on to the next slide. Yeah, so everyone consider this example. Okay, consider this example. This example we will be discussing in the entire chapter. Okay, so there is a transaction or transaction database given with 10 different transaction. Okay, 10 different transaction. So here BA, BDA, DEAC, like this the item set is given. So there are 10 total transaction or item set. There are 5 different items from all this 10 transaction, that is A, B, C, D and E. Okay. So first step, as I told, in the first step, we have to construct the FP tree. So FP tree construction step has 2 passes. What we have to do in pass 1, okay, pass 1, what we have to do, we have to scan the transaction database. Okay, we have to scan the transaction database. So then what we have to do, we have to find the support count of each item set. Okay, we have to find the support count of each item set, all different item set. Let us consider here. A is there, B is there, C is there, D is there, E is there, and F is there. So totally we have 6 different items. Okay, 6 different items. Correspondingly, we have taken the support count of each item. Let us say, let us consider A. So A, how many times it is there? A, let us count it. A1, okay, it is not there. A here. A2, item set 2, A is there here. A is there here. Then it is not here. A is here. Uh, A is here. 7. 1 second. See, this is actually A here. It is a typing mistake. Okay, it is A here. Okay, so here also A is there. So here total how many times A is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times. So if you consider E here, let me see E. E 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3. E is 3. Why I showed E? Because this is A. Okay, A. So we have to count the support count of every item, and we have to order it in a decreasing order. Okay, decreasing order. If you see here, it is arranged in a decreasing order: 8, 6, 5, 5, 3, 1. So the minimum threshold given is 2 here. So what we have to do? We have to eliminate the item which is having less than the minimum support threshold. So it is more than 2 here, more than 2, more than 2, more than 2, more than 2, but it is less than 2. So less than 2 means what? It is found as infrequent item. Okay, infrequent items. So just we will be pruning it or eliminating it from the rest of the item. Okay, so F is not frequent, even though it is, because why? Because it is chosen only in the one transaction. Okay, it is chosen only in the one transaction. That means we can easily make out it is not frequent, it is infrequent. So we just don't want to consider it. Okay, we can just drop out it. Okay, by closing the eyes, we can just drop out it, because it is very, so out of 10 transactions, only one time it is occurring. That means it is very rare. Only very few or one or two customer will be purchasing it, which does not make any sense here. Okay, so we'll okay, so this is actually the database. Okay, then this is actually the count. So this is decreasing order. So you have to remember the order, in which order that ABCD items are arranged. It is very easy. It is in the ABCD form only. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, since these are in the descending order only, so this pattern we have got A, B, C, D, E. Okay. Now next we move on to the next slide. So here is the as the next point, that is in a FP tree construction, as I said, we have come across the pass 1. Next we have to do the pass 2. What is this pass 2? In the pass 2, actually we will be constructing the FP tree, frequent pattern tree. Okay, so we'll see the diagram in the next slide. So FP tree, we will be constructing the FP tree. So in the previous pass, we scanned the database and we took the support count of each item, then we arranged in the descending order. Okay, so that we will get the common prefix always, so it will be easy to construct the tree. So what we have to do in the pass 2? Pass 2, we will be always reading the transaction wise. Transaction 1 we will be reading, transaction 2 we will be reading. Okay, then we will be reading the transaction 3, and we will be doing all this. Okay, so first we will be starting with the first FP tree will be having a root node. That root node always we mention using a null. Please remember this. The tree structure you will be knowing, always the first node will be root. Below that the child nodes will come. So first node we called as a root node, which will be represented by null. Okay, if you see the lattice, so lattice will be having like this, the null point. Okay, null. The lattice will be like this. Okay, it will be having the, yeah, I'm not doing a broader one, I'm just telling. So here null, so null root node is represented by null. Then we go on to the move on to the transaction. The items which there in that first transaction, that will be the actually the node, okay, in the sub nodes, okay, which comes under the roots. So we will see in the next slide what is that actually. Okay, so here we move on to the next slide, it will be clear for you. So what we have to do in the past two, we have to construct the FP tree. So to construct the FP tree, we will be, okay, to make it our concept easier, okay, to make the construction of tree easier, what we have to do here is one thing you have to remember. I'll show you in the slide. So here, if you observe, okay, if you observe, here if you see, we have BA, BDC, DEAC, ADE, CBA. Already I've changed here. Okay, CBE was there, it is changed A. Then we'll get the count 8. So CBA, like this we have. Please observe, please observe. So BA, BDC, like this. Okay. So if you come here, and we had an infrequent item set also F. Okay, please remember all this. First is BA. Then second transaction is BDC, like this. Then the seventh transaction is AF. Please remember this. I'll move on to this. So what we have done here, in the previous slide, I showed you the transaction, the item pattern was BA, but here I have written as AB and BCD. Okay, it was BDC, like that, BCD. Then if you see seventh transaction, AF is there, but here only A is there. Why? Because F is an infrequent item set, we have removed it or we have eliminated it. Okay, because it is infrequent, no need to keep it again. Okay, we can easily remove it. So if you see here, most of the transaction is beginning from the A. A here, A. Okay, and next transaction, next other transaction is beginning from B. Okay, that means what we have to understand here, we have to understand that once we do the pass one, in the pass two, each transaction has to be, in each transaction the items has to be arranged in the decreasing order of the support count. Okay, that means what order we have, in this order. Okay, in this order, if C is missing, D is there, then ABD will take. Okay, like this. But we are going to arrange each transaction. Okay, we are going to arrange each transaction, okay, in this decreasing order of the item set. Please remember this. Okay, that's why we will get the item set like this. It is only to make our tree construction easier. So it is like this. We are eliminate the infrequent item set also. Okay. Next, what we have to do, we have arranged like this. For the data set, A is the most frequent item set, followed by B, C, D, and E. Like this we have done. Next, what we have to do here, let us consider the first transaction. Okay, we have considered the first transaction, which is here, it is in the green. Okay, so first transaction, we are going to construct the first branch. So as I told, there will be a root node which will be represented as a null. Then each subnode will be an item. Okay, each subnode will be item followed by a counter. So here A, B, okay, the transaction AB, colon 1, because A is occurring 1. Okay, we are just considering only the first transaction first. Okay, we are considering only the first transaction. So A is equal to 1, count is 1. B is also, the count is 1. B colon 1, A colon 1 means it is count is 1. The second pass over the data set is used to construct the FP tree. After reading the first transaction AB, the nodes A and B are created. Yes or no? A path is then formed from null A, B to encode the transaction. Yes or no? Every node along the path has a frequency count is equal to 1. Hope it is clear for you. Okay. Next, what we have to do? We have to go for the second transaction. So second transaction, it is starting from the B. It is also arranged according to the count. A is not there in this transaction. The item A is not purchased by the customer. E has purchased B, C, D. So what we'll do? What we will do in the next transaction? We scan the second transaction. We pass over the second transaction. So here it is already A is there. Now the root node is directly connected to A. Okay, but in this transaction, B, the customer has not purchased A at all. So then we cannot continue here. B is already there here. I cannot make it B, C, D. It will give the wrong intuition. That is means the customer also purchased the A. Okay, but customer has not purchased A. So what we have to do in the when we pass over the second transaction, we have to start with the new branch. We'll see in the next slide that one. Okay, so you can see here first is over, so I've disabled here. So second one in a green color, we are talking about the second transaction, which is having the item set with the items B, C, D. So here B, okay, C, D. You can see here B, C, D. Okay, so if you, I think you are observed this B, C, D. So here in this transaction, we have B, C, D. Yes or no? Why I'm not starting from here? Because this branch is starting from A, but A is not purchased in the transaction. Item A is not purchased in the transaction. So that's the reason I have started a new branch. Okay. So that branch B, C, D. Okay. So here, if we consider these two items, okay, this two item set or this two transaction, okay, B is there in the both the transaction. So the count of B till the transaction 2 is 2. Yes or no? Till the transaction 2, if we take the count of B, it is here and here. So 1 plus 1, 2. A is 1, C is 1, D is 1. So we have to make sure that the count is correct. So here A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, C is equal to 1, D is equal to 1. But B is 2. Okay, but I cannot do here 2. Okay, because it is in different transactions. So I use the singly linked list. I think if you remember in the previous slide, I told we will connect the singly linked list. So B1, B1. So 1 plus 1, 2. Totally we are getting the count 2. Okay. Even though we are not showing in the single branch, but the count is 2. This pointer. Okay. This pointer will be keeping the count of 2. So this is the second transaction. So we have partially transaction wise, we will be generating the tree. So next we move on to the third. Hope I think you now by this time you would have come to know how to do. So can you just tell me how the third transaction can be taken? How we can just take the third transaction? Should I start a separate branch, or can I use same any of this branch and do it? Any of this branch and do it. Think over it. Should I start a separate branch, or should I can use any of this branch to to consider this transaction? If you remember, we were telling about the prefix. We can use the same prefix. Yes or no? If the prefix are same, then we can continue. The branches will overlap. If you have a same prefix, the prefix, this is prefix. If the transaction is having a same prefix, the branches can overlap. So let us move into the next slide. That is, these two are disabled because already done. We are now in the currently we are in the third transaction, A, C, D, E. Yes or no? So the prefix or the starting item is the item means here is the item with the highest support count is A. That's why it is kept as A here. Yes or no? We have arranged in a decreasing order. So A. So null is any branch starting with the A here? Yes, it is here. It is B here, but we don't consider this. It is A here. Yes, A. But after A, we don't have B here. We have C. Okay, I cannot directly move here. Okay, D, E, I cannot do that because it is separate transaction. Okay, so what I can do, I can create a sub branch of A. Okay, so A, C, D, E. A, C, D, E. So I'll keep the count C1, D1, E1. But I'll connect that C, D with the single linked list. So C1, D1. So if you just see the overall subtree, okay, or a partial tree, the count of A is 2. See here, it was in the previously, the count of A was 1. Now the count of A is 2 because A 1 plus 1, 2. B is 1, but here we are connected it. C is 2, C1 plus 1, 2. D is also 2, 1 plus 1, 2. E is only 1, so E is 1. Hope you are understanding. Okay. Likewise, like this, we keep on doing transaction wise. Okay. So I'll show you here transaction 4, ADE. So here also A is leading. So we go A, then DE. Here B is there, C is there, D is not there. So what we'll do, we'll create one more branch of A. Okay, A, D, E. A, D, E. Then we'll increment the counter because A, D, E. A has come 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Third time we are visiting A. So 3. From there we are going to D. So D here in this transaction D is only once. So 1 and E once 1. So then what we do, we use the we use the singly linked list. That's why it is in this direction. Okay. So D1, okay, D1. So here also there is a D. So like this we link. So we link like this and E here is there E. We link like this. So D count is 3, E count is 2. Okay, C count is overall is 2, A count is 3, B count is 2. So entire thing like this. But we branch wise will show that particular transaction number only. Hope okay you are understanding. Like this the tree grows. Keep on see here. Then ABC. Here the fifth transaction ABC. So A, B is already there in the with A. So B, then we extend it to C. Then we connecting the linked list, we just connecting this. So the count of C will be now 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So like this, we keep on doing. So ABC. So we come to this. That's what I'm telling you. If the prefix okay is same, the branch will overlap. So AB, the prefix is AB here, here also AB. So this branch only followed. Then it is having ABC, sorry, ABC here, ABC here. So this branch only is followed. But the counter will be incremented. A will be 5. So if you see from this first transaction to sixth transaction, total number of A is 5, it should be here. Okay, total number of B will be 3, it should be here. Total number of C will be 2. Then A, B, C, one more item is purchased by the customer, so that is extended to D. But we will be linking to get the linking to the other branches to get the total count of the D. Okay. Likewise, we keep on moving. So we completed the transaction 6. Then we move on to the transaction 7. So only A. Okay, the transaction 7 is only A. So what is that? We are just, if you see previous 5 here, B3. Okay, remember A5, B3, C2. So in the transaction 7, A is incremented. A is 6. It was 5 before, it is 6 now. B3, C2, D1. It is all same. Okay, like this. A. No green lines are shown. Okay, it is only A6. That means only this path is used. Okay, that's what it is told, overlapping. So the tree will be compressed. So then next we have ABC. Can you tell now? It will be easily. You can just do it now. Okay. So already we have one path ABC. ABC here, the same ABC. So we no need to create a new branch. So we can just follow this path A, B, C. So what we have to do here, we have to increment the counter, that's all. So no need to create the branch. So A will be 7, B will be 4 and C will be 3. 7, 4, 3. Let me check. Yeah. 7, 4, 3. Okay. 7, 4, 3. And when we come across the transaction 8. Okay. Then next, still two more transactions are there. So ABD here. ABD. So here AB we have, but we don't have D directly. So ABD. We created the transaction ABD. So D counter 1, then we will be linking. Okay, linking. So like this, the last transaction. So A counter is 8, B is 5 and D is 1. Then last one is BCE. So here the prefix is not A, it is B. Then which branch we have to move into, which is having a branch B. Suppose if it is C, D, E means we have to create a new branch, but it is B, C, E. So here it is B, C, C is already there. B, C, D is there, but we want B, C, E. So one more branch from the C we draw. So B, C, E. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, so here B, C, E. So E is we just connected. Okay, all are towards the right. You can see like this. We can just find out the D's here. Like this, like this, like this, like this. Okay, here D. E means from here to here, here to here. So this is it. Hope you are understood this. So our transaction is completed, then our tree is also completed. Okay. So one thing you remember, okay, one thing you remember. So this is our final tree. Okay, final tree. So this is our final tree. So no green color, just a final tree. Okay, picture. So one thing you remember that how to recheck your tree is correct. The constructed tree is correct. How you can recheck? Okay, two things you have to take. You have to make sure that all the transaction, okay, is there in this tree. So AB is there. BCD is there. ACDE, ACDE is there. ADE, ADE is it is there. Then ABC, ABC it is there. Then ABCD it is there. A. So like this, all transaction is clear cut. It is there. Okay. Then you have to check one more thing. Is the count of support count of each item is same as the there in the support count in the transaction. Okay, so A, how many value you are given? A, 8. So 1, 2, 3, here 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, correct. Similarly, you have to check for all item B. Okay, B. Let me check with the B. Okay, B. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6, 7. 7 is there. 7 pieces. Here 5. Then we have to follow the count. Link. So here 2. 5 plus 2, 7. Okay. You have to check each and every item. Okay. Their count. Okay. You had a sum on the sum on the count, and if you get the count same as in the transaction, that is which I showed previously in the table, okay, then you can make sure that your tree construction is right, it is constructed correctly. Okay, this is our final tree. Hope it is clear for you. Fine. Hope you are understanding this. So here I think you got how to construct the FP tree. Okay, so here We have the original transaction database. Then we have constructed the FP tree. So here every node, okay, there will be one header table. So for every node there will be pointers. Okay, pointers are used to assist the frequent item set generation. There will be A will be pointing to this node, B will be pointing to this node indirectly like this. C will be pointing to this, so directly like this. Indirectly it will be CD, it will be tracking all this path. Okay, and E like this. Okay, so the pointers will be used to assist frequent item set generation. So here we have got this tree formation because we have arranged this tree, or we have got this tree. Why? Because we have arranged the items in a decreasing order based on the support count. Suppose if you have arranged the items in a increasing order of the support, then how the tree looks like, I'll show you. Okay, that is based on the FP tree size. Okay, FP tree size you can see here. Okay, so here FP tree is typically smaller than the size of a uncompressed data. Why it is smaller than the size of the uncompressed data? Because many transactions will be having a common item set. As you see, if you see each uh, transaction is having some item common in. So if you see the transaction 5 and 8, all the items are common. Okay, so one or the other item will be common in the basket of a customer. Okay, so that's the reason that the FP tree will be typically smaller than the size of the uncompressed data. Uncompressed data. Okay, so when it will be smaller, if all transactions have same set of items, there will be only one branch. Yes or no? Okay, if every transaction is having item ABC, 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 then there will be obviously only one branch. If all the transactions have different items, then obviously different branches will be there. There are 10 different there are 10 transactions. Each transaction is having different items. First transaction is having AB, second transaction having CD, third transaction is having EF. Okay, if that is the case, then we will be having AB branch, BC, CD branch, EF branch, like that. So if no transaction have common items, no compression. Okay. So, however, the physical storage requirement for the FP tree is higher than the original data. Physical storage FP requirement for the FP tree is higher than the original data. Why? Because it requires additional space to store the pointers. Okay, between the nodes and the counters of each item. It requires the pointers to store the item and the counters. This also here B5, then here B2. To this it required. Okay, to count take a whole count. This also has to be maintained. Okay, that's what here. Okay, so the physical storage of FP tree is higher than the original data. Why? Additional space is required to store the pointers between the node and the counters for each item. So here in this slide, I am showing you the tree. Okay, the size of the tree differs. Okay, when we take the support count in the increasing order. In the previously we are done in the decreasing order. If you are taken in the increasing order, if you observe, the tree is little bit broader than that tree previously. I show you once again. So this is little bit compressed, right? So I mean, little bit like you have only 1 2 here, 1 2 3 4 here in the second level. But here if you see 1 2 3 4 5, so a little bit broader it has come. Okay, broader it has come. So if you see here, so many things, so many times of 8 times it will 8 7, because here 2 7 times. Okay, A. So the size of FP tree also depends on how the items are ordered, whether it is in decreasing order or increasing order. This is the final FP tree from the which is sorted from lowest to the highest support. So this is the comparison. Yeah, here this slide is clear for you, I think. So if you see, this is the tree we constructed. Yes or no? Using the support count from highest to lowest, that is in decreasing order. Suppose if you take in a reverse order, that is lowest to highest, then the tree looks like this. Okay, so better to go for this 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 one. Okay. We move on to the next step. We have completed our first step in the FP algorithm. What was the first step? To construct the FP tree. So to construct the FP tree, we took two passes. First pass, scan the transaction database, find out the different item sets, and count the support count of each item set and arrange in a descending order, and also arrange the each transaction in a descending order based on each transaction constructed tree. That was the pass two. To based on the transaction construct the tree was the pass two. By when we complete the pass two, we will be getting the FP tree. The next step is to find the frequent item set. That is the main or main important thing. Okay. So one of the important step in the association rule mining. So in association rule mining, always we have two steps. First step is to generate the frequent item set, and second step is to generate the strong rules. Okay, so we are going to first step. Till now we are not done the first step. Means first step in the sense we are not with respect to the association rule. So we have done the prior work. Okay, prerequisite I can say. So we have come up with the FP tree. Next, what we have to do? We have to generate the frequent item set. Okay. What is frequent item set? Always the frequent item set means the item set support. The support of item set should be greater than or equal to minimum support item set. Do you remember what is the minimum support we are given for this transaction database example? That is 2. Okay, 2. So let us move on to the our next step. So step 2, frequent item set generation. So what we have to do to generate the frequent item set, we will be using FP tree. Okay, FP tree. This FP tree is a bottom up fashion. Okay, FP tree, we will be, the algorithm looks for frequent item set in a bottom up fashion. So to generate the frequent item set, here in FP growth algorithm, bottom up approach is used. So you remember this is the FP tree. So bottom up approach means from the bottom node to the top node. So which is the bottommost node is, if you observe the bottommost node, E is the bottommost node. Okay, E is the bottommost node. Even though the D is there, but below the D there is E. Okay, if you see here D is there, but below the D there is E. So we consider E is the bottommost node. So that's why we have extracted the subtree which is containing the path of node E. Okay, which is paths. We have extracted the subtree which is having the paths containing the node E. So if you observe, we have A, C, D, E, A, D, E, B, C, E, like this. That means the transaction which is containing the E. To be, in the other words, if I say the transaction which is containing the E. So here, what we have to do? Next, what we are do in the bottom up approach. That's why here first we extracted the subtree which is ending with the node E. Now next above the E, there is D. So we are extracting the paths containing the node D. It looks like this. The subtree will be look like this. Okay. Next, below above D, we can see next. We can see that the next node is C. So we are extracting the subtree which is containing the node C. Okay, node C. Next, what we have to do, above the C we have B. Yes, no, because A is the highest. So B is next to A. So above C there is B. So we will be extracting the subtree, okay, which is containing the which have the path containing the node B. So BB. Okay. The finally A. Why I showed you all this means we are using bottom up approach, which is the bottommost node or which is the node which is having the least support, that is E. E. Then next to the above the E there is D. Then above the D there is C. Above the C there is B. Above the B there is A. So we are come here to the toppest node, that is A. Okay. So we have just taken the subtrees based on the nodes. Okay. So here what we have to do, we have to construct the conditional FP tree. Okay. We have to construct the conditional FP tree. To construct a FP tree. So what we have done, we have gathered all the paths containing the relevant node. This path we call it as a prefix path. That's what I showed you in the previous slides. We have gathered paths containing the E, containing D, containing C, containing B, and containing A. Okay, that's what I showed you. Here A, here B, here C, D, and E. Okay, so like this we have taken. This we called as a prefix paths. Okay, all this we call as a prefix path. Clear? Hope it is clear for you. Then from next what we have to do, from the prefix paths, the support count for the item is obtained by adding the support count associated with the node. Okay, here the support count of the item is obtained by adding the support count associated with the node. If the item is frequent, the algorithm has to solve the subproblems by finding the frequent item set derived from this item. So this, okay, to do this, it first converts the prefix path into conditional FP tree. Okay, that means next we are going to find the conditional FP tree node wise. Okay, I'm telling you node wise. So first we take the node E. So one more thing, here we are not reduced. Okay, so conditional FP tree. Remember now what we are going to do now. We have constructed the FP tree, complete FP tree. Then we did the prefix paths. Okay, based on the relevant node. Okay, now we are going to find out the frequent item set. Okay, we are extracting the frequent item set based on the conditional FP tree. So first we are going to construct the conditional or take into the prefix path. We are going to convert the prefix path into a conditional FP tree. So what we are doing, bottom up approach. So which is the bottommost node, that is E. Why I'm taking bottommost node as E? Because it is the node which is having least support count compared to other items or nodes. So I have taken the prefix paths, subtree I told, otherwise we can call it as a prefix paths. Prefix paths of a prefix paths ending in E. Okay, here minimum support is 2. We have to remember. We are considering the prefix path ending with E. So if you see, we have E here, ended with E. So we have taken the corresponding transaction. Okay, ACDE, ADE, and BCE. So we have 3 paths. Hope you are understanding. Okay, we have 3 paths. Next, what we do? We will cut off the E because we have to find the conditional FP tree for E. So here what I have done prefix paths ending in E. 3 paths I have taken. Okay. So I have to construct a conditional tree. Okay. Conditional FP tree. So what I am doing, conditional FP tree for E. So what I am doing, I am just taking the path with only, okay, which is just cutting off the E. Okay. So I'll get ACD here, the transaction ACDE, ACDE, ADE, BCE, last transaction. Okay, last transaction. Now I cut off all E here, E, E, E. Next slide, what is that? I'm showing E, 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 I'm cutting off. Then what I'll get the path AC1, AD, C. So here I have not taken B. B is missing. I tell you why. In the next slide, I'll tell you why. Okay. But one thing you have to observe, I move back to another slide. Here in this, we had A is equal to 8, C is equal to 1, D is equal to 1, E is equal to 1. A is equal to 8 we had here. Okay. When I come to this slide, when I take only the conditional FP tree of E, for E, I am getting A is equal to 2. Why? Because if I keep A is equal to 8, it is for the entire transaction. Okay, it is for the entire transaction. So, but for the conditional FP tree for E, so we have the paths, prefix path, only 3 branches. Yes or no? In that 3 branch or in that 3 transaction, I have only 2 transaction which is having a A. That means the count of A should be 2. Yes or no? If I take 8 here, then it should be entire transaction. But I am just considering with respect to E. So it is, okay, it is here A is equal to 2 here. Hope you have got this. Okay, why A is 2? Because I am considering only prefix parts of E. Okay, so here it is clear, prefix path of E, which is having E only I am taking. And I've just taken the cut of E in the conditional FP because I'm finding the conditional FP tree for E. So E should not be considered. So I just take this, this, and this. Okay, out of this A is how much? 2. So the count of A is also should be 2 here also. Okay, here C is 1, D is 1, D here C1, B is not considered because I tell you in the next slide the reason. Okay, so same thing what I told I've showed here. Okay, prefix parts ending in E is this one. This one we already. Then we are cutting off the E part. Why? Because to construct the conditional FP tree. So in the conditional FP tree, here A was 8, but it has become 2 because we are concentrating only the path containing the A. Okay, B was 2, but it is taken 1. C is a 1. So why I'm not considering B? Can you guess why the B is not considered? Here, this is the conditional FP tree for E, but B is not considered. So if you take the count of each item, okay, if you take the total count of each item, A is occurring 2 times. C is occurring how many times? 1 plus 1. It is not 2. Okay, it is 1 because E in the path, in the transaction that have a prefix path. Here I have, sorry, yeah, prefix path. If you take C is having 2. Okay, this is entire transaction. Here C is having 2. So C 2 and D 2. But B is how many times? Only 1. Okay, only 1 because the B, if you see this transaction, if you see this, only consider the highlighted one, the transaction 3, 4 and 10 you take. Okay, so how many times B is occurring? B is not there, B is not there, but B is here. How many times the B is there? B is only 1 time. B is only 1 time. Okay, B is 1 time. Okay, A how many times? A is 2 times. A is 2 times. Yes or no? C, let me see. 1, it is not here, it is here. 2 times. D. D how many times? 1, 2. It is not here. So what is the minimum count we have? Minimum support count. Minimum support count is also 2. So what is, when we take this frequent, the item is frequent and it is equal to or greater than 2. So this is 2, selected. This is 1, don't select it. This is 2, this is 2. That's the reason the B is not shown here. Hope you are understanding. Okay, B is not shown here. Okay, B is not shown. So it is saying that B is infrequent. The path B is infrequent, so B is taken out. So we can now remove the infrequent items, nodes from the prefix path. In this example, B has support 1. So that means BE as a support of 1. That means BE. Okay, the path BE will be having support of 1. That's the reason B is not considered. Okay, B is not considered. Similarly, conditional FP tree for E, conditional prefix path ending in DE. This is DE, conditional FP tree for DE. Okay, so like this is the, we go off using the conditional FP tree for E to find frequent items ending in DE, CE and AE. Okay, but we are not consider B because it is infrequent. For each item, find the prefix paths from the conditional tree of E. Generate the conditional frequent item, okay, recursively. Conditional FP tree and continue recursively. So this we do like this, we prefix path ending in CE. CE will take prefix path ending AE. Okay, A, we just cut off C also, then we consider only A. Like this, we cut off upper layer. E first we cut off, then only we are taking the prefix path of E. Then first we cut off E, then we cut off D, then we cut off C. Okay, we will be having only A like this. Okay, you can see. First we cut off D, only this portion we are taken. Okay, this portion. Then what we'll do, C prefix path of E only will take. We'll cut off D part. So this part will cut off. We have this only. Then we cut off this part. Then we have this only. B is infrequent, so we leave off. Only this. That's what it is showing here. Okay. So DE means D, only D. Then CE. We're taking C. Then it is prefix path only ending in A. Okay. Like this. When we do this, we get the frequent item as E. E is a frequent, DE, CE, AE, and ADE. Okay, ADE. Similarly, we have to do the recursion. That's what it is told in the previous slide, recursively. Okay, generate a conditional FP tree and continue recursively for all the nodes we have to do. So we have to do for D, D, CD, BCD, ACD, BD, ABD, AD will get. Okay, only this part I have shown you. Okay, remaining the same thing we have to follow for the D. We have to take, when we have taking D, we don't consider this. We consider only the this part. Okay, this part. Then we go for AD, BD, CD. We have to find out anything is frequent or not. Okay, based on that we will do. So D we have to do for D, we have to do for C, we have to do for B, and we have to do for A. Like this, these are the set of frequent items that we get for the transaction data given in the example. Okay, since every transaction, okay, like given the example tree below, FP grows looks for frequent item set ending in E first, followed by D, C, B, and finally A. Since every transaction is mapped onto a path in a FP tree, we can derive the frequent item set ending with a particular item by examining only the paths containing that nodes. Okay, that item nodes. So this is the frequent items sets. I showed only for E. Similarly, you have to do for D, C, B, A also. Hope it is clear for you. Once this frequent items is generated, what is the second step in association rule mining? We have to find the strong association rule. How to do it? In a priori I showed you. So you have to take like BCD. Okay, BCD. Then how to find the frequent item set? B, C tends to D. Yes or no? BC tends to D. So BC tends to D. So we have to find the support, confidence. To find this confidence, what is the formula? Support of B, C, D. Support of BCD whole divided by support of BC. Okay, support of BC. What is the support of BCD? What is the support of BCD? We have to check here. BCD. BCD. So BCD is here. Okay, BCD is here. So otherwise we can just go for the tree. Just a minute. Yeah, we'll take here BCD. 1. Here no BCD. Here 2. 2. Okay, BCD. 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 2. 2 divided by BC. BC. How many times BC? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Okay. So here you can 2 divided by 4. 2 divided by 4 means, yeah, same thing I can take here. I can take here. So here you can see what is the support of BCD is here. BCD is here. So it is 2 divided by 4. That means what? Into 100. That means 50%. 50%. Okay. So this, suppose my min confidence is minimum confidence given is 60%. Then this rule will not be considered. Okay, that is what is the rule I have taken. BC tends to D. Okay, BC tends to D. BC tends to D. So this rule is not a strong association rule. Why it is not a strong association rule? Because the confidence is less than the minimum confidence. So this will not be considered into. Okay, like this we have to take all the for all the transaction. Okay, we'll take it for all the transaction. Or then we'll go for B tends to CD, D tends to BC. Okay, C tends to BD. Like this, all combination we have to try. Okay, A tends to B tends to D. Like that, all combination we have to try. So whichever is having more than 70 or equal to more than 60 or equal to 60, that rule will be considered. Other rules will be eliminated. So we know how to generate association rule efficiently. This is the way we have to generate the association. The next slide we'll see the comparison between a priori and FP growth algorithm. Now let us discuss the difference between the a priori algorithm and FP growth algorithm. There are some parameters given here. Based on that, we differentiate the difference between the a priori and FP growth algorithm. First, let us consider the parameter as storage structure. A priori algorithm uses array-based structure, and in FP growth algorithm, we are using a tree-based structure. That is, data structure is tree here. Here the data structure is array. Then search type, to search the particular item, frequency item, we use breadth first search, whereas here divide and conquer method is used. Technique it is used here in a priori algorithm is join and prune. Okay, you can see that L1 is joined with L1, so we'll get the candidate C2. Then L2 is joined with L2. Then we from C2 we'll get L2. From again L2 is joined with L2 itself, and we'll get C3. So we try to prune the item set which is infrequent using the a priori principle. So here construct, we will construct in FP growth algorithm, we will construct the conditional frequency pattern tree, which we just discussed now in the previous slides, which satisfy the minimum support. Here number of database scan is k plus 1 scan, that is C1, C2, C3. Ck means k is equal to 1, then it keeps on increasing till the candidate key level becomes null, that is C4 is equal to null or C5 is equal to null. But here there are exactly 2 scans of the database will be done to construct the tree. Then here memory utilization is large as due to the candidate generation. Here the memory utilization is very less because there is no concept of candidate generation. Then database type is sparse or dense dataset here. Here large and medium datasets are used in FP growth algorithm. Whereas runtime, here it takes more runtime because it is iterative process and level wise we will be doing the search. That's why it will be consuming more time compared to the FP growth algorithm. So these are the difference between the a priori and FP growth algorithm. Thank you.